Change is good. Stick with us.
So let's just start right into it. Hey, it's me, it's Adam. I'm here with Lucky, and I'm just going to let Lucky tell everyone who he is. Tell us who you are.
Oh, okay. Hi, my name is Lucky Cerruti. I'm a writer, director, filmmaker. Maybe you've seen Kindness of Strangers or my latest film, Freak. I run Dead Vision Productions, which is a production distribution company. And that's a little about me.
I'll be honest, the real reason I had you introduce yourself is because every time I think of saying your name, I'm about to say Lucky Cerruti, and I'm like, am I saying it right or not? So I'd like, let's let you do it.
I've heard them all. It's all good. You can call me whatever you'd like. Oh, of course. Yeah.
I only have 2.5 syllables in my full name, so I mean, it's not that hard to do.
Right.
I mean, that's not many. Anyway, going on with that, the reason I brought you here is because it's 2022. It's actually, we're recording this on the first day of 2022. Who knows what the hell it's going to lead to. But no matter what happens, I will be doing the terrible 2-day fest number 5 at the end of March. And you were last year's winner. Normally we did 2 prizes last year because it was our only online one of the evil pandemic. We only did 1 winner, and it was you. You were the winner. So to prove it, I've finally made the gold tape for you.
Oh my God, cool.
Hiding your address away so if you don't see that I've marked this envelope already, and I'm putting it in the envelope.
Wow,
awesome. Into the mail tonight.
Thank you so much.
I do like by realizing your hometown does connect you to Betty White, though.
It's true. It's true. I mean, it's not a full disclosure. I grew up in Lake Placid, New York. That Lake Placid, the movie is Lake Placid, Florida.
Right.
But and I get that all the time too. Whenever I say I'm from Lake Placid, people are like alligator, and I'm like, well, kind of.
Yeah. Only just guys in mascot costumes. That's probably about
it. Yeah, exactly.
Once you're gonna get there.
Exactly.
What I'm planning on doing for the next couple of weeks is I start to announce the films that are happening in March. I'm bringing some of the past winners online to tell us what they're doing these days. So I know specifically of the project you've been having with the Kickstarter and sort of the bigger project. Let us know about Sleazo.
Yeah. So actually, we at the time of recording this, I would have just gotten back from the final shoot of this new feature that we're working on called Uncle Sleazo's Toxic and Terrifying TV Hour. It is an anthology film. And it pays, tribute to a classic block of, late 80s, early 90s TV with a horror host, and he will show kind of the films that will be the segments, and we will also have full commercial breaks. I'm new to the WNUF Halloween special. I didn't know that movie existed until Vinegar Syndrome put it out. I'm obsessed with it now, but very similar to that as far as just like the layout of the TV sort of style. But we have a bunch of stuff in here. This was a huge undertaking. This is definitely the biggest swing that we've taken. And I'm super excited about it. Now it's my favorite part. I just kind of get to sit in front of my computer and edit it all, which is going to be really fun. And actually our very own Adam Riot Thorne will spoiler maybe or maybe not have an appearance in Uncle Sleazo, which is super exciting, and thank you for coming to play. That was awesome.
If you sneeze you'll miss it, but so you got to pay attention to the film when you see it. I like that you mentioned that until recently you didn't know about WNUF, because that's my first thought when you mentioned they're going to have the commercials in it and stuff like that. Trying to think, is his first name Mark LaMartina, the director who made WNUF? I've talked to him a few times. We've done interviews on our webpage for riotthemovies.com. Funny guy, smart guy. But he mentioned to me how my first thought, and I think he gets it all the time too, is if he had seen Ghost Watch, which was an English TV special. Do you know of that?
I do not.
All right, you need to check that out. And it blew my mind when he said, my first reaction when he told me he did not know what that film was, I called bullshit on him. I was like, I don't believe you at all. You're a bullshit artist
funny.
connected to your hat.
Yeah, right.
Ghostwatch was a live TV special done in England in around 1990, and it was done with people who were actual news people. Like the weatherman was hosting it. One of like the local BBC guys was hosting it, and
wow.
it was going into a house that was having an exorcism, and when they do the exorcism, it causes apocalypse basically to happen, and it starts to affect the show in different ways. It has a slow burn into it, really slow, believable, and goes ape shit. But that's all I'll tell as a spoiler, because you should look it up and find it. It's a whole lot of fun, and it's just interesting that it was the same situation for Lamartina, that he was like, since then he's discovered it, and he's like, oh, I find like a spiritual kinship to it, but definitely had not seen it before, so it left this sort of like surreal feeling in him, because everyone was telling him for like the longest time. You must have seen that then, right? You must have seen that.
That's super weird. Yeah, and that's funny that you said, because I felt the same way. Nobody was really talking to me about WNUF because for a while we kind of weren't telling anybody what we were doing. We were just like kind of doing it. But when I'm obviously a huge Vinegar Syndrome fan, and when you know they post their releases for the month or whatever, I forget, it was probably October. And I was like, oh, that looks kind of interesting. And then I looked it up, and I looked up the trailer, and I was like, oh, we can't make our movie. This is our movie. What, like, I didn't know that. But it's like theirs isn't obviously an anthology. Theirs is kind of like that news anchor kind of, you know.
Not to burn your bubble, but
no,
what you're doing on there is at no point of Chris Lamartina is what his name is. Actually, now I think of it. At no point is he ever going to go, oh, you're doing the same thing, because you're part of a family of people who do these type of films now. Like it's a genre on its own. What I want to know, because he seems like a really interesting character. Who's the guy that you got to be Uncle Sleezo in this? That just seeing photos of him stands out.
Yeah, he is he's a good friend of mine. I'm very fortunate enough to be able to cast. I grew up as a theater actor, so I know kind of all of these really just great actors, theater actors that I've worked with since I was, you know, young, and kind of growing up and getting to work with them. And his name is Jordan Hornstein. He's a friend. I've known him for a long time. I've done a couple of shows with him now. And you know, he just was right. You know, when Matt Sorensen, my producing partner, and I were kind of thinking about like the host and what he would look like, and kind of, you know, his whole thing, we'd be like, who would do it and who would kind of be excited to do it. And I mean, he was the only name that I was like, it should be Jordan, right? And he's like, oh yeah. And Jordan was so excited, and he just like, that was we actually shot all of the Sleezo footage in the middle of shooting one of the bigger segments. So it was like early in the day, and he just came in and he's like, okay, I have like 3 faces that I can do. If you know, I want you to look at all of them. And he's like, I want to be drinking and all this shit. And like all the, you know, he just came with so many, he was so excited about it, which is awesome. I loved it. But yeah, he's great. He's just perfect.
Being from, I'm judging you, being from your age, probably a lot of the classic like horror hosts are before your time, but there's also been just sort of a revival of like documentation of them, and like Zachary and stuff like that for the last couple of years. Is there certain ones of those that stand out to you that you had seen over the last couple of years that were like, oh, this is who I'm kind of thinking of when I'm doing these things?
Yeah, totally. We were for Uncle Sleezo specifically, we were definitely aiming toward more of the camp, like goofy type, like Svengoolie type of vibe for it. So in kind of developing that, I went down a rabbit hole of horror host, you know, but like everybody else recently, I'm a, you know, a student of Joe Bob Briggs. You know, like his Shutter revival is just like one of my favorite things in the world.
Yeah.
And you're right, most, if not all, are, and you know, were before my time. But I've been having a lot of fun just kind of delving deep. You know, Bill Cardill, Elvira, Svengoolie, Joe Bob. You know, I would take from all of them, and just kind of what I liked and what I. But again, Sleazo is kind of that just almost public access type of weird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Really,
which is having a interesting, if not revival, if like a nostalgia that people are really loving right now anyway. So it's a good sell.
Totally.
A couple of months back, I think now, the last year is a blur for everybody. But I remember you doing a lot of posts in a really big abandoned house that you were like, oh man, this is such like a haunted house. Was that part of this or was that something else? Because you hadn't really mentioned the name Uncle Sleazo anywhere near by that point.
Yeah, so that was back when we kind of were keeping it kind of close to our chest as far as like the whole project. But yeah, that what we shot in there, I guess I could talk about it. So there, in the
I
commercial
mean, you
break,
showed enough photos and you filmed
right?
yourself walking around the house, so
Yeah,
it's not like
totally,
that's a secret.
totally. In the commercial breaks, we have shot a couple of fake movie trailers for movies that don't exist, just to kind of bulk up the commercial breaks a little bit. And one of the fake movies is called Clown Cop, and it's kind of this like taxi driver 70s exploitation film. And we shot in this. It was downstairs. It was like a post office at one time, and then upstairs it was like a house, like people lived there. But it's gonna be totally renovated, so it hasn't been touched since I don't even know when. So like the paint is like chipping and falling off the ceilings. It's trashed. I mean, it's like
I
completely.
mean,
Like,
I've lived in apartments that look like that, so I mean,
right. Me too. But I mean, another producing partner of mine, Leslie Dame, who was in Transferal. If anybody saw that kind of, and by the way, Transferal will be in Uncle Sleazo as well. Transferal will be the one of the segments. It will be the last segment. That was the first one that we kind of completed, and that was even before we decided to kind of go in the route of making it into a movie. We just wanted something to shoot, so that was done, and we had it, and we were like, well, let's kind of show it around and like just see what people think about it.
I was gonna say, because it seems like your concept would be sort of humorous, but Transferal is not very funny. It's more actually like creepy and itchy.
For sure. And I think that's what's exciting about Sleazo is that we do have stuff that's like weird and silly and campy, but the segments, especially Transferal, are not that way. And I think that you know, I think good horror comedy, not that I think that that's what this is, but the most effective for me are the ones that keep the scary and the funny. You know what I mean? So I think that that's interesting.
Well, that's a wonderful freedom of an anthology, is you have the ability to sort of play emotions, play genres, play concepts. You can, it lets you, it's kind of like when a band makes a greatest hits, but you get to have it of all these ideas you've had.
For sure. And that's what we had finished Transferal, which was originally supposed to be, we had gotten a message from some guy, I don't even know who, and he was like, hey, I want to give you money to make me a segment for my anthology. And, you know, I was like, okay, like, whatever, that's fine. And we just like made it, and the money never came, and the guy probably wasn't real and whatever. But we had this thing that we liked, like, you know, we were happy with it and whatever. And we were like, and I never know what to do with like shorts. Like you can do festivals, sure, and that's great.
Yeah.
But I like to get it to people, and I like to have people watch it, as many people as possible. It's just harder to do that with shorts rather than just like throwing it up on YouTube and letting it die there.
Especially
Uh,
because the YouTube short needs to be like 5 minutes max too.
totally,
So
totally. So we were like, well, let's just like bake it into this thing, and then in developing it, just became part of Uncle Sleezo. Um, but yeah, getting back to the house. We just were given freedom to like do whatever we want, which I've never really had that luxury. Wherever I've shot, I've always had to, like we can't get like blood on this, and like we
yeah.
can't, you know what I mean? So it was really fun to just be like, yeah, we can trash this place. So it was really fun, and I like that trailer a lot. It's funny, but like not, it's cool.
So, I mean, don't explain it anymore to spoil it because I want to, gonna enjoy to see it. But now in my head, I'm visualizing Harvey Keitel as a clown. As you said, it was a clown cop, but like an exploitation movie.
Yeah, yeah. It's yeah, it definitely has that vibe for sure. Yeah, it's fun.
Well, we'll see it when it happens in there, which sounds like you're in your last stages. The wonder of Omicron now, when we're like, who knows what's going to happen for the next 2 months? It gives you a good chance and a good excuse to finish your editing and get deep into it.
Totally.
So good timing with that for sure. I'm just thinking with you doing a bunch of fake trailers in there. That's one thing I haven't announced, and I was going to announce it at the end. So the only thing I'll announce for Terrible 2-Day Fest on this is Newt Allen, who does production for Cinemassacre, has just a wave of fake trailers that he makes all the time that he would do for them.
Awesome.
So he said, take all the stuff that's on my page that I haven't used for Cinemassacre, and we're going to play those in between each of the movies during the fest, and then on our free online day, it's just that's going to play every second thing is all of the different trailers he's made. So there's some
so
weird ass
awesome.
things.
That's so awesome. When is Terrible 2-Day Fest in March?
Yeah, so it's the last weekend of March, so it's to be the 26th, Friday the 26th, the 27th, and then now to ruin the name, the Sunday the 27th will be an all free online day. So some of the shorter things that we have will replay, and because fingers crossed that we're going to be doing this as an in-person event again.
Yeah.
And then we're going to do parts of it online because, well, we gained a whole lot of new fans last year by doing it that way. So we want to still give them something. So that again is free, and everyone can jump on there and comment and riff along with it. And we'll have some of the filmmakers, hopefully Newt like himself, will come on there. One of the ones that you might like, I'll give this a spoiler too, because in about a week from now, I'm going to announce all of it.
Cool.
One of them is a short documentary. So it's about like 30-40 minutes, called Snapper, which I think you might get a kick out of it. It's a guy who, the VHS legendary film, The Killer Refrigerator?
Yes.
Yeah. So a guy found those guys who made that film and found that they had attempted to make a major release film, still a no budget type of film, but a film with I think one or two like has-been stars of the time, and it was about a big mechanical snapping turtle that was killing people. And they
Wow.
filmed a lot of it, but they didn't finish it because, again, these guys were homegrown guys, and when they were given some money, they didn't know what to do with it. Now they're like sound engineers for studios and stuff like that, and work for other people.
Yeah.
But they never finished the film, so it's a sit down with them, showing the clips that they had, and like the process of making something with not no money, but not real money either. So it's that step in between of like, there's probably hundreds, if not thousands, of American movies that were in that element, and the boom of the VHS era, where they're like, well, we can still sell it. It's VHS. Why not? That didn't happen, but started to happen.
That's so cool. I'm looking forward to that quite a bit. That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's an interesting especially for guys like you and I and people who watch my festival specifically. They're gonna find something in it, even if they've not been in the film world, but they've been interested in it. They'll get a kick out of it. And I mean, all those guys who are all the VHS heads, they're gonna get it. They're gonna know what they imagine the process is like, being it successful or not, because every time we always talk about everybody's successes, there's probably about a dozen unsuccessful things we've all done.
Of course, easy. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure yourself, like me, we have like a dozen scripts that are sitting on our hard drive somewhere where we're like, we got about 3/4 into it, and then like somehow lost hope and thought one day we'll get back to it, and then new projects come along.
Yeah, yeah. But what's nice about those is that, like, I mean, for me, I've been able to kind of like poach stuff, because in anything that I've done, there's usually, hopefully, at least one bit of it that's like, okay, that's something. So I've been able to kind of like cherry pick, which is helpful. But yeah, I have a cemetery of just like ideas and scripts and bullshit, but yeah, that's really awesome. I can't wait.
A plot of bullshit is what creates creative people. So it's necessary. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm going to cut this short for us. Thanks so much. Like I said, it's now in the mail, and the 2021 winner, Freak. If you get a chance for people, is it still available in some form of hard media on your website?
Absolutely.
I know a couple of times you sell out of the regular or the
yeah.
the collectors.
So yes, we have the standard edition in stock at deadvisionproductions.com. We also have it streaming on the website as well. And you can find a whole bunch of stuff on there. The shop is up and running. So
I will
yeah,
make those words appear over the screen right now. So when this is finished, people will see that. So go check them out. And I'm guarantee everyone, even within the festival, but within Riot at the Movies, our website now, we have not heard the last of Lucky and Dead Vision. We will see a lot more, especially coming up in the near future of Uncle Sleezo. What's the full title again of Uncle Sleezo? I keep mixing it up.
Uncle Sleezo's Toxic and Terrifying TV Hour.
Right. Okay. That is going to be etched in everyone's brains now. Thank you so much. Have a happy new year, Lucky. We'll talk to you soon.
You too, Ryan. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Change is good. Stick with us.